Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled people stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen tried to control my diet, so I kicked her out. After that, my boyfriend and my brother lied to me for 8 years. And after that, my parents got my older brother a car for his 18th birthday, but they didn't do the same for me. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen doesn't get a car for her birthday. What would I need a car for? I never stand up. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen tried to control my diet, so I kicked her out. My friend Jen got laid off a couple of months ago. She's currently staying with me to save money until she finds a new job. Jen believes her being overweight has caused her to have low confidence, which then caused her to lose her job. Therefore, she decided to go on a diet to lose weight. I'm in full support of her decision, as I figured, regardless of her reasons, it can't be wrong to lose weight and be healthy. Jen downloaded an app that tells her what to eat and what to not eat, and she is not supposed to eat candy and other sweets. I like sweets, but to support her, I've stopped having cakes, milkshakes, etc. at home. The only sweets I have at home are candies. She said to me that candies were too enticing to her and I should get rid of them. But I need candies. They help me concentrate while I'm working. I work from home, and candies have been part of my diet for years. To accommodate her needs, I told her that I would not eat candies in front of her, and I would keep my candy in my bedroom, which she should not have access to. She got upset, saying I was not being a supportive friend, but I said I was being supportive, as I have made enough accommodations to make sure that no foods forbidden by her diet were accessible or visible to her. She was still pouting. This morning, when I came back from my daily run, I found her in my bedroom searching for stuff. I asked her what she's doing. She said she needed to find my junk foods and throw them away. This was completely unacceptable to me. For one, we agreed when she moved in that she should not enter my bedroom without my permission. I don't have a big apartment, and my bedroom is the only place where I can have some privacy. And she breached that agreement. And two, I do not believe she has the right to throw away any of my belongings. At this point, I told her if she couldn't respect my space and my routine, which do not affect her, she needed to leave. She threw a fit, accusing me of abandoning her at her most difficult time. But I explained that I wasn't kicking her out for no reason and that she's welcome to stay, but she would need to respect my boundaries. Am I the jerk here? Update. Thank you everyone for your comments. I really appreciate your insights. After our argument this morning, Jen went somewhere to clear her head. She just returned and we had a conversation. She asked me if I really wanted to kick her out. I said not exactly. My intention was mainly to remind her of my boundaries, but if those boundaries keep being breached, I would really need her to leave. She said she understood, but she realized that her staying here for too long would jeopardize our friendship, and she would not want that. She will find another solution to her living situation. Not the jerk in any way. You were nice enough to host your friend while she tries to get back on her feet. You were also kind enough to accommodate her requests about junk food in common and shared spaces. The violation of your privacy by going into your room in and of itself would be enough to kick her out. This is on her. OP. Thank you. She wasn't happy when I told her that she couldn't enter my bedroom without asking, because before she moved in, she was allowed to do whatever she wanted when she visited me. But it's different this time. She basically lives here now. I need to set some boundaries to protect my privacy. She could not be more wrong and has completely violated your privacy. What you eat is none of her business. You actually shouldn't have even given up what you did, cakes and milkshakes. You were too nice, and that might have been slightly enabling to her kind of crazy. Part of her weight loss journey is going to be learning how to live in a world full of food she chooses not to eat. Also, I don't believe she was going through your room trying to throw that stuff out. She was going to eat it. Not the jerk. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her friend? Please let us know. Here's a solution. Give all your candies to me. Problem solved. My boyfriend and my brother lied to me for 8 years. Context and a very short version. When I was 17, I was in a relationship with my twin brother's best friend Jake. It lasted 8 years till we were all finished with college and my ex had gotten enough money off his extremely religious parents to get a head start in life. If you don't know where this is going, my brother and Jake were together the whole time and used me as a cover because my feelings didn't matter. My brother had been out since his teens, which is why they came up with the idea to use me so his parents wouldn't get suspicious. My parents were angry with my brother, even cut contact for a year, but they all made up and have been pushing for us to speak since. I refused to speak to my brother due to how they dismissed me when everything came out. Jake literally said, "You wouldn't understand. I had no other choice." My brother was worse. Like, I get where Jake was coming from because his parents are nuts, but I didn't deserve to be treated like that. It's been 5 years since everything came out. I'm currently pregnant with twins with my soon-to-be husband. My brother and Jake moved back to our hometown last year. They have both been trying via my family and friends, even coworkers, to get me to talk. My mother begged me to sit down like an adult and don't let the past ruin my son's chance at having a relationship with our uncle. That my grudge I have against my sibling is ruining our family and my mental health. A few hours ago, I stopped by for lunch and to show my parents scanned photos. Guess who was there? The happy couple. I was literally in shock for a few minutes. Then when my brother tried to hug me, I pushed him away. I got so worked up, I physically couldn't stop shaking at this. My brother and Jake tried to apologize, talked about what happened, and begged for a relationship. I was in tears and begged them to leave me alone. In the end, my brother handed me a letter and said, "I really wish things could be different. You're my sister, my twin. I do love you, and it hurts me that we don't have each other anymore." So basically, I'd lost it, ripped up the letter, screaming that we weren't family, and I just want him to leave me alone. I walked out after that and had to get a taxi home because I was too upset to drive. Since then, my parents and family members have told me I'm cruel and bitter and that I need to stop living in the past and get over it. Hey guys, I won't be replying anymore because I'm very emotional and don't feel well. Not due to anyone in this sub, you're all amazing, but someone gave my brother my number, and with my family's non-stop calls, I'm gonna have to turn my phone off for my own sake. And before anyone asks, my fiance said in the family group, if anyone shows up at our home, they'd better hope the cops get there before he answers the door. I'd like to answer a few questions a lot of people keep asking before I go. After 8 years, why didn't you see any signs? Basically, my brother and ex were always close, and I obviously never thought that they'd do something like that to me. Like, your brother is meant to protect you from the bad guys. What kind of relationship did you and Jake have? We lived together for 2 years, and we did everything a normal couple does, so I hope that clears up a lot of curiosity. Why are you more angry at your brother than Jake? I will never forgive Jake, but I did and still do pity his situation with his parents. The reason I'm more angry at my twin brother should be obvious. What do you plan to do with your parents? As of now, I will go no contact till my babies are born, and at least 3 months old so I can be in the right headspace. Are you in therapy? Yes, it helped me love myself again and trust people. I'm in a way better place than I was a few years ago. Not the jerk. I feel sorry for Jake with his parents, but what he and your brother did to you is horrible. They betrayed your trust, both as a romantic partner and as a sibling. If they had told you the truth at age 16, you might have even offered to be a cover. But instead, they chose to lie to you for 8 years. No one, not your brother, not your parents, no one gets to determine when you should be over it. You are not obliged to accept any apology ever. And tell your parents if they can't respect your feelings and your decision, they will no longer be part of you or your children's lives. OP. I've actually been asked this multiple times. The honest truth is, if they had told me the truth from the get-go and asked me to be his fake girlfriend, I probably would have done it so my brother could have been happy. They took that choice away from you. You do not owe them forgiveness. Not the jerk. They are monsters. They stole 8 years from your life. Because there were like no other options. Now they're sorry. Yeah, right. Maybe they want something from you, like being their surrogate in the future. I would stay no contact with them and low contact to no contact with your parents. You did not break your family, they did. Now they're harassing you and putting your well-being in danger. Forget them all. Be strong. My parents got my older brother a car for his 18th birthday, but did not do the same for me on mine. Okay, I know the title sounds like I'm spoiled, but hear me out. My brother, who's 20, got a car for his 18th birthday. Not a new car or anything. It was a 20-year-old Lexus that was in pretty good shape, and he rubbed it in my face for the rest of the time he was a senior in high school. Compared with my brother, I get just as good of grades as he does, better in some cases even. I worked my hardest in the hope of fairness. I even did some volunteering cleaning up garbage in my local area. Then my 18th birthday came and went a few weeks ago, and the only thing I wanted, the only thing I was hoping for was a car. I wasn't expecting something like a new car or a sporty car, just something reliable like my brother got. The party wasn't anything like my brother's 18th. For his 18th, my mom baked the cake herself. It was a delicious layered chocolate pudding cake. I got a sheet cake from the supermarket. For his, they got a DJ. For mine, it was my dad's old boombox with a couple of mixed CDs. We went through the whole party, and I figured my parents might have just been waiting to spring a surprise gift on me, but that didn't happen. I asked them as things were wrapping up why there was no car when my brother had got one, and they said that they felt like he had worked harder for it. I asked what he did that I didn't do, because I did all of that and more. My grandma was nearby and heard everything, and then she asked them why as well. She ended up lecturing my parents that she was very, very disappointed in them for showing favoritism. Then she proceeded to announce to everyone still there that my parents thought it was fine to get their firstborn son a car and a DJ, but not their second. And then she even pointed out how much harder my parents tried for my brother's 18th birthday than they had tried for mine. My uncle was the first to stand up and say something, then everyone else who had not left yet. I ended up just walking away and going to my room to sit and think. I got a few "I'm sorry" calls from relatives, and my grandparents convinced me to go out with them for the evening. But when I got back, my parents were upset and told me I'd shamed them to the whole family. I just walked past them because I didn't want to fight. The next few weeks went by with a silent treatment between us. But then a few days ago, my parents suddenly surprised me with a white '98 Subaru Legacy that runs great. They practically threw me the keys and the title in an envelope and said to have fun. I got the car, and they're paying for insurance for the next 6 months like they did for my brother. I know a car isn't really a right, but a privilege, so I feel like I've essentially blackmailed my parents into getting me one. Am I the jerk for how all of this played out? Edit. I would like to clarify a few things. My parents make pretty good money, and also don't go out of their way to live lavishly by choice. They've always been moderate in everything they buy or do, though if anything is stretching their finances, it's my brother's college tuition. He got a partial scholarship, and my parents are paying the rest. I don't and never intend to ask for the same treatment on that. I want to work and pay for my own student loans. Now that I have the car, I'm already looking into getting a part-time job. This also isn't a gender thing, as I'm male like my brother. The bill of sale for the car I got says my parents paid $1,600 for it. My brother's car cost them about $3,000 if I remember. But I don't see it as a money issue. I actually really love the Subaru and told my parents so. They did not share my enthusiasm. I also did try to talk about a car with my parents a few times last year, but they always dodged the conversations about the topic. I figured if I talked about it too much, I'd ruin it. And so I stopped. I would have felt like a brat to keep talking about getting an imaginary car, so I learned to just stay silent and hope. I can't go stay with my grandparents because they live in a one-bedroom condo. There isn't enough room for other people. After all their kids grew up, my grandparents decided to downsize to make their eventual retirement easier. Also, my grandparents know all of the details already, and they tell me that I didn't do anything wrong and were already planning on confronting my parents quietly over the car issue. But they took the chance to take care of the matter when they heard me asking my parents about it. As for my brother's 18th birthday party, it was held in 2020 during basically the height of the lockdown. Honestly, we shouldn't have had a big party like that at the time, but my parents insisted. As for my brother himself, he barely speaks to me, even before he left for college. He didn't show up for my 18th birthday party, and I figured that's just because he's busy with college and he's not even in the same state as us anymore. Honestly, I haven't seen or heard from him since Christmas, and even then, the most I got out of him was a mild greeting. I did thank my parents for the car, enthusiastically thanked them, but they've barely said a word to me after giving me the Subaru. Even when I thanked my parents, they brushed me off and just went inside. It kind of gave off the vibe that they were letting a brat play with his new toy, which was pretty upsetting, and one of the reasons I made this post. Edit 2. There was one more thing I forgot to say. I was really hoping to get the car because I literally couldn't get a part-time job without one. We don't live in the city, and we're 10 miles from the nearest public bus stop. I've always had to get rides to go anywhere. Now that I have the Subaru, I intend to look for a part-time job after school as soon as I can. Can we give it up for your grandma? She's a G. I would have been bummed out too if my siblings received a car and I didn't. Cars are expensive. Did your parents explain why you weren't initially getting a car and why no effort was being put into your birthday? Not the jerk, by the way. Not the jerk. The way they got called out by the whole family is hilarious. They're mad they got caught. Good on you, OP. Not the jerk. Clearly favoritism here. When I was in high school, my parents helped my older sister get her license at 16 and gave her a car to use, and they did the same with my younger brother. This sucked because I had middle kid syndrome hard, and I had better grades than them, played 2 sports a year, worked 15 to 20 hours a week, and was going full-time to a local community college through a program we had, so basically graduating with my associates at 18, and they didn't. I definitely could have used the car to drive myself to everything, but instead relied mainly on the school bus, public transportation, and my boyfriend. This was over 10 years ago, and I still get upset with the favoritism. Your parents are mad at you, even though they have just caused lifelong resentment. My girlfriend demanded to wear a white dress to a wedding. This happened during the weekend. Me being in my early 30s and my girlfriend in her late 20s. I was invited to a wedding ceremony of a colleague and could bring someone with me. I asked my girlfriend that I've been dating for a year if she would like to join me, and she was really happy because she apparently loves weddings. Since we don't live together, I drove to pick her up so we'd have some time to spare before the ceremony. As she comes out, she looks really beautiful and has obviously put in time to fix her hair and makeup. She's also wearing an off-white dress that was rather ornate. As she got in, I told her that she looked stunning, but I asked if she could change to a different colored dress for the ceremony. I'm not one for etiquette by far, but one of the few things I have heard everywhere is that you should not wear a white dress to a wedding unless you're the bride. She became pretty upset and wanted to know what was wrong with her dress. I said that it would be inappropriate to wear a white or off-white dress unless you're the bride, and that's like wedding law or something, trying to be lighthearted about it. She rolled her eyes and said it was an outdated tradition about women and that when her friends got married, everyone wore white dresses and that it's not a big thing anymore. I told her that I don't know what the dress code is for this ceremony, but since it's not saying all white clothes, I still thought she should change to another color, but white or almost white because my colleague was getting married and we had no idea how she felt about it. My girlfriend became really upset and told me that I was trying to control what she was wearing and that I was being horrible to her, which honestly made me feel upset and hurt. I said something along the lines of, "Well, you shouldn't go to a wedding with me if I'm mistreating you." And then I told her to get the heck out of my car. She began to cry and wanted to apologize and give me a hug, but I just told her to get out, which she did. Edit. To clarify, we never left the driveway by her home. I did not drop her off in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. I drove off and she called and texted me a bunch. I answered, "I don't want to talk right now," and then turned my phone off and attended the ceremony. The bride was the only one that was wearing white, so I feel as if my gut feeling was the right one. When I got home, my phone had blown up by texts from her and her best friend saying that I was being inconsiderate and controlling and should apologize for my behavior. I vented to a few friends, most of them agreeing with me, but some of them had said that it was a jerk thing of me to do, to tell her that she could not wear her dress because it had nothing to do with me. I feel as if I was in the right since it was my colleague's wedding and it was better to be safe than sorry, but I'm also not sure if I was being a jerk about the situation. So Reddit, am I the jerk? Update. I never expected this thread to get many replies. I'm incredibly thankful for all of you that have reached out and commented, and I really appreciate that you've taken the time to tell me. My girlfriend found out about the thread. Don't know if she knew my handle or just found it, and we talked over the phone. She apologized and I apologized, and it was a pretty good talk. She asked if she could come over, and I said no, and that it would be best for us to go our separate ways. She got upset and asked why I wouldn't even try to work it out. I basically just said goodbye, and then she insulted me and hung up. I'm pretty sad about it. She really made me feel happy, but as many of you have commented, if this was our first disagreement, how would future disagreements look? So anyways, I think things worked out for the best for both of us. Again, thank you all, and I will keep trying to respond to all of you, but there are lots of messages, but I read through them all. Not the jerk. Your girlfriend should have known better. Unless you know the couple and it's a request, you don't wear white. She also overreacted, and you did the right thing by asking her to not go and to get out of your car. She overreacted because she 100% knew the rule. Yeah, the only way her attitude makes sense is if she's an attention seeker for not saying something else. Or if she was testing OP somehow. Boundaries, or when inevitably someone in the wedding party asked her to leave to see how OP would react. I wonder if she's met and dislikes the coworker. This seems like a pretty deliberate snob. It doesn't matter if she's met her. To some people, anyone of the same gender within the realm of existence of your partner is automatically competition that needs to be overcome. I'm not sure if that's what was happening here, but there's no need for the two to have met for it to have been a snub. Am I the jerk if I press charges against my neighbor for breaking and entering? This is crazy, but just happened this past weekend. I, male 45, was alone and taking a nap for a couple hours upstairs and came down at about 4 p.m. I walk down and see a man walking out of my front door. I recognized him as my neighbor. We live in a townhouse complex and he lives right across from us. I confronted him. He apologized profusely and said he was drunk. Yeah, at 4 p.m. and made a mistake. I could smell it on his breath. Seemed believable, but I decided to make a police report anyway. They questioned him, but his story was believable, so that was the end. I go back inside, frazzled, but thought it was over. I check my phone and see auto messages about recent charges on my credit card from a convenience store near my house for several beers while I was sleeping. I called the police again, and they were able to get a copy of the store security footage a couple days later. Surprise, surprise, it's him. The police arrest him this morning, and he confessed to taking my wallet from my house, using my credit card, then returning it back to my house. He didn't even take the cash in the wallet. The whole thing is so bizarre. I would laugh about it. But then I think, what if my wife and kids were home? What could have happened? Then I just get angry all over again. And now I just got a letter from his wife saying how he is a drunk and getting help and begging me not to press charges. Part of me feels for her and wonders, am I the jerk? But the other part of me thinks I should not only press charges, but also sue them into oblivion, forcing them to move at the very least. So, am I the jerk if I press charges? Thanks for all the great opinions. I'm getting the same questions it seems, so here's some edits rather than trying to answer individually. Edit. The door was unlocked. We live in a gated community, so I just dropped my guard. The neighbors have money, so I have no idea why he did that. Maybe just to see if he could get away with it. The guy is being held in jail pending a court appearance this Friday. Likely will be released on bail, so no opportunity for him to apologize yet, if he does. I'm not angry about the money. I'm angry about the invasion of privacy and the fact that I won't have peace of mind in my own home from now on. I'm angry because what could have happened if my wife and kids were home. I'm angry for how much worse it could have been in general. I will be meeting with my wife tonight as she keeps begging for a meeting. Not the jerk. There should always be consequences when drinking leads to out-of-control behavior. Otherwise, you're enabling a selfish, destructive person to become even more selfish and destructive. This is such a good point. I would also like to point out that if he made it all the way into your house, found your wallet, stole credit cards, bought alcohol with them, and returned them, that this is likely not the first time he's done something like this. But it seems like it may be the first time that he's facing real consequences for it. The wife sounds like she's been enabling his behavior. Not the jerk. Press charges, not the jerk. Also, let anyone you're friends with around there know. If there's a landlord, they should know. The guy's a criminal, not a drunk. I know plenty of drunks that would never break into your house once, let alone twice, or steal your credit card. What's next? Waking up to him standing over you and your family? Also, what kind of locks and security do you have? Sounds like an upgrade is due. Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you press charges or forgive your neighbor? Please let us know. Forgive thy neighbor? This ain't Bethlehem, bruh. We're going to have to throw them away. In the late 90s, I volunteered at a small private school. They had little money for extras like computers or computer teachers. I don't know much about computers, but I knew how to plug them in and I knew how to put one together if you gave me all the parts. So naturally, I got asked to be the director of the computer lab. It had 2 very old computers, and naturally, it was a volunteer job. I had very little money and a lot of time. They knew that I wanted a job. They told me that after I build it up, they would put a salary in the budget. I taught some classes the difference between the components, some file structure, some basic, some DOS, and how rebooting your computer usually solves whatever problems you have. The concept of drivers. The thing is, the director of the school hated fundraising, so my salary never got added to the budget. And the director often kept himself busy doing other things, useless things. One sunny morning, he finds me and tells me to wish him luck. If today goes right, We're going to have a huge computer lab." He comes back from his meeting with a huge smile. "I did it. I convinced a bank to donate to us their old computers." "Okay, great. Now I have to set up and maintain 50 new, for us, computers. I can't wait." The computers got delivered the next week. All terminals. These were bank computers. I had no idea how to get them running. They didn't even have hard drives or operating systems. The keyboard and mouse ports were different. They were not the standard PS2 at the time. I think they somehow connected to a server which did not get donated. Their monitors only did text, no graphics. They were useless to us. We needed something to run America Online, Encarta, maybe SimCity. You know, educational stuff. I had no idea how to get these to work. I tried asking the director, telling him that the 50 computers were useless. He got super annoyed. "I'm sure they can be helpful in some way. They must be worth something. Figure it out, because if you can't, we're going to have to throw them all away." He thought he was threatening me. He did not think I'd throw out 50 computers. After all, he worked hard to get them. I did not hesitate at all. My next class, I had screwdrivers for everyone. We disassembled everything. If it had a screw, we unscrewed it. The class figured out what each piece was, and then the class activity was to take the pieces to the dumpster. By the end of the day, there was nothing left. The next day, the director asked me where the computers were. "Oh, you were right. They were very useful. The students took them apart, learned all about the different components, and then threw them out, just like you said we should." His face turned all sorts of colors, and he stormed out. What I didn't tell him is that I saved the RAM from the garbage. I mean, after all, it was in the garbage, right? And I sold them on the online classifieds. Remember Yahoo Classifieds? For $20 a piece. There were 2 in each computer, so I got $2,000. I guess they were useful after all. Am I the jerk for not celebrating my daughter's 18th birthday? Myself, 40 female, and my husband, 42 male, have a daughter who just turned 18 and is an only child. She has barely talked to us over the past few days, and I wanted some perspective. Historically, we haven't always been there for her birthday because myself and my husband work long hours. We get her a cake, have a nice dinner at home on the closest day off to her birthday, but it's rare we spend the actual day with her. For her 18th birthday, daughter wanted to do something with her friends, and because me and my husband were working that night, we agreed. She proposed the idea of an escape room with 11 of her other friends, and it would be a competition, 6 versus 6, and finished with a meal after somewhere. We agreed and said we would pay for her meal. She and her friends would pay for the escape room themselves. However, a couple of her friends she wanted to come with her aren't great with money. They've borrowed money from my daughter before and have been a bit late paying her back, so we were hesitant in letting her book the escape room until we knew everyone had given her the money. My daughter was scared someone else would book the escape room. This was a week before her birthday and asked to book it. We said no and put our foot down, but my daughter went ahead and booked it with her friends anyway. S went behind our backs, so we told her that what she did was wrong and disrespectful, and there wouldn't be any cake or a dinner this year, and we stuck to our word. On our day off, we didn't do anything, and she just sulked in her room. It's now been a few days after her birthday. We asked her if she had fun, and she said everyone paid her and the night was fun, and that was that. My husband doesn't think we did anything wrong, but I think I heard her crying in her room. She's still icy with us, so am I the jerk for not doing anything for her 18th birthday? Edit. We both work 6 days a week on 12-hour shifts for our business. Without us, it wouldn't run, so we can't book time off. Hence why we always spent the closest day off we have to our daughter's birthday with her. Edit 2. Our business is a takeaway we've had since she was born. It was either pursue university, but have no means to live, or find a new venture and have a means to live. My husband is the head chef, and I work out front serving customers. We hold the business up, and we've had to do so in order to have an income. Edit 3. I see we're clearly the jerks in this now. Thank you, everyone. But messaging wishing bad things on my husband and I is a bit much. Our daughter has always been mature for her age and was quite understanding of us working so much, and now I begin to realize she might just be acting okay with it. I will talk to her about it and possibly look at getting her into therapy. Thank you all. So, you've essentially never made your daughter's birthday a priority. Then when she tried to do something nice for herself on an important milestone, you did your best to ruin it? You're the jerk. Your husband is a jerk, and collectively, you should both be ashamed. OP, you're the jerk. Please don't be surprised when she goes no contact and disappears from your life. You may think that you had good intentions to neglect her, but all she'll remember is that you weren't there for her. Yup, all I remember is that my dad was never there for me. When he passed last year, I realized how unfair it was that I was still expected to be there for him anyway. I called BS and he didn't hear from me once, and I've now gone no contact with my remaining sisters. Got tipped over $200 for dealing with a jerk. Was bartending on a Saturday night. It was a typical busy Saturday, but nothing crazy. Had a couple sit down at the last two open seats and order something to drink while waiting for their table. They told me their wait was going to be 30 to 40 minutes. Husband got a small beer. Wife didn't want anything. Didn't want to look at the menu. About 20 minutes later, I gave them the check for the beer, just in case they get called to a table. I tried handing it to them, but nobody reached out to accept the check, so I just put it down. The husband looks at the receipt very briefly, but otherwise does not acknowledge that it's there, seemingly on purpose, but he did look at it. The host came to the table and said their table was ready, and the husband sent his wife to the table while he sat at the bar. As soon as I went out of his sight to make a drink for a server, this guy runs away to his table without paying his tab. About 2 minutes later, I went to the couple's table. It was close enough to easily get to, and politely reminded him about his bar tab. He said no, and he wants me to transfer it to the server. At this point, I knew he wasn't gonna tip, and it wasn't worth fighting over one beer, so I just decided to say okay. Tried walking away, and he said I was being aggressive and wanted to talk to a manager. I wanted to get out of there as fast as possible, so I was like, all right, I'll send one out. I put the receipt on the table, and he threw it at me and called me a jerk. I get back to the bar, and the manager has a chat with me. The guests see, but don't know why. Manager is kinda cool, and we're both think first, react second types of people. Even though we didn't want to, the best thing to do was grudgingly comp the beer. Not worth risking a job for a $7 check. Some of the guests asked me what happened, pretty much explained everything that happened, and one of the guests said that's ridiculous and gave me $100. Another guest at the other side of the bar was so upset, more so than even I was, that we had to comp the beer and gave me $100 too. A few other guests overtipped as well, multiple 20s and whatnot. So that's my story. Sometimes it's hard, but just keep cool even during annoying situations, and more often than not, level heads prevail. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.